Say something?
Say something? What do you want me to say?
Okay. Come this way.
So this room is a student organization where we have actually just started. We've been, I guess, 3 months now into its SWAP. It's Students with a Purpose, and what we have is we're collecting clothes and different things to help out students in our community. So this is pretty much the room where we're collecting the clothes, we're sizing the clothes, folding the clothes, and taking care of the clothes in that way, and the students are the ones that actually do that. And it's kind of a collection right now. They've collected the boxes that have been placed in different places.
So I guess my first question, it's not really a question, but like, talk about your biological parents and your siblings and how your actual childhood was. Was that your phone?
Yeah. I'm the oldest girl. There are 5 girls, 2 boys. There's an older brother. And then my biological father, his name was Stephen. He didn't live with us a lot, but when he did, it was rough. Well, it seemed like he didn't live with us when we were younger. I remember him coming back into our lives several times. He was on the road. We lived on welfare for the most part. We moved a lot of times because we couldn't afford to pay the rent or the bills or whatever it was. So I remember a lot of that, but to remember a lot of him is not good.
I guess, what are some of the things you guys had to deal with? Like I don't know, like specific instances.
Specific instances. I don't know if you've ever seen the Saturday Night Live bit with Farley saying lived in a van down by the river. That happened to us. We lived in a van down by a river when there were my mother and my father and my older brother and myself. And at some point in all of that, the story is that they just took off, you know. We ended up in Alaska. We couldn't have stayed for very long because by the time I was in kindergarten again, I was back in New York, Western New York. And surprisingly, they put us in school, and I guess they put us in school at the right times because I actually graduated on time.
Talk about Sandy Fredonia and adventures.
All right, well, I guess you'd have to know that in school I did pretty well. I did really well. That main thing is I started out doing pretty well is because school was a safe zone for me when I was young, and they had food there, which we didn't have a lot of at the house, and if we did, it was locked up and it wasn't for us to eat. But when I was in high school, I did very well. I got a Regents diploma, honors diploma. I was in the honor society. I did very, very well. So I got 4 years paid for. So I got accepted at Fredonia, which was a teaching college. And of course, I didn't know any other profession than teaching. You see things that you know that you can't do. You know, when I was little, I was going to be president, you know, whatever. And I was going to make all these changes and be this wonderful person that made all these changes because I would be in a position or power to make those changes. So when I was younger, I wanted to be president. And then there was this short time when I was younger where I wanted to be Whitney Houston. We all knew that wasn't going to happen. Can't sing, wasn't black. You know, I had a couple things holding me back there. But I ended up, you know, getting a 4-year thing. I was able to go to Fredonia, all paid for, every bit of it. And then I went off to college, and I did pretty well there too. You know, I got a year in, and then I ended up getting pregnant into my 2nd year, and I ended up having Whitney, my first child, on the very day I was supposed to go back to classes. It was a Monday, and I was supposed to go back to classes that Monday. And then from then on, I didn't go back for 3 more years. I ended up three years later not going back. But in the meantime, in those 3 years, a lot of stuff happened. There was a lot of abuse with this guy. There was I didn't have any drug use, but he had a lot of drug use, a lot of drug trafficking, if that's considered trafficking. He would travel, use my car, use my, money, use my apartment for selling drugs, but he had, but he smoked them too. So
what kind of drugs?
Cocaine, crack, a little bit of weed, but more crack. Crack was the big thing. By the time you were 9 months old, I had moved at least 4 times and been homeless. Between those moves and things, I've been homeless or been staying with somebody because I didn't have a place to stay, or I didn't have enough money to come up with the first month's rent to stay somewhere. So it's not a good situation. So by 9 months old in that summer, I said I'm gone. So I got all my money and my possessions, together, and my child, and I got on a bus and headed south. I wanted to be warmer. I just decided that I could do better. I knew I had to do something, and I really had to do something. And so I just really started doing some research. Can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this? I know I got in school before, so I decided I'm going to try to go back to school. No car. Ended up having, 3 kids, 2 kids, and so I researched all that stuff and went back. And when Bradley was a year old, after Bradley was a year old, that following fall is when I started going back. So it was right before Gregory was born, and I was pregnant with Gregory, and I was in school. But I would go to class. Sometimes you guys would go to class with me. I had a calculus class one time. Well, all the time. I had classes where you guys would be outside playing. I'd give you crayons and things to sit outside the room, or you'd sit in the room, and like Gregory, I had Gregory on my lap, and the 2 of you would have to sit in each chair behind. I had crayons and markers, and I told you, don't you make a sound in there, and you guys were wonderful and didn't. But I don't know, I threatened you. I don't know what I did, but I may have said some threatening things, like don't you say a word, I don't know. But we made it through school together, all 3 of us, or all 4 of us, the 3 kids and myself. We made it through college together, and made it through with some pretty good grades.
What was your GPA?
My GPA was a 3.8 something.
Better than mine.
So it was, when you're put in that situation where you got to do it, and I think I talk to you guys all the time. This is so important for mommy. I think I might have said, you're not going to get candy, or you're not going to get this if you do really well. I think I bribed you and threatened you, but we made it, and we got through college, and we got a bachelor's degree together, and that proceeded after that. I went and got a teaching job in the year 2000.
Cool.
Yeah. Then we went to get our master's degree together.
That was fun. I remember that.
Yeah. So then in the year 2004, I decide, glutton for punishment, decide that I can do better than this, and I go ahead and I start going to college, and you guys are still young, so I can't leave you home alone or anything, so I had to bring you to college with me. And we would go to college and have college classes, and again, I don't know, threatening or bribing what we did, but we made it through, and we got a master's degree together in school administration.
Talk about doctorate school and what you do now, like how you balance everything now.
I don't. I love learning. That's something I know about myself, is I love learning, and I love being in these classes. I love having these discussions. I love the process. I hate writing papers, though. And that's what's killing me right now, is I've got that on top of the responsibilities that I have here. I am a mother, I am a wife, and I am an assistant principal, which just being an assistant principal is a full-time 24/7 job, to tell you the truth. But as far as, I guess I will feel better when I'm done. Right now I'm a little overwhelmed because of all the responsibilities I have at school, and the ideas I have in my head that I want to do, and I know that I can't do those because I'm spread so thin right now that I can't really focus in on some things I want to do. Like, I really want this girls group to, it's an idea of mine, it's a passion of mine. Teaching teachers how to teach is a passion of mine, but I don't get to do a whole lot of that. I'm almost halfway done. But I don't know, I guess it'll get done like it always has, right? One way or another I'll make it through. I don't have 3 kids to take care of, little kids to take care of. But I guess it'll be what it is.
Cool.